a lab here. In this lab, we have a WASP web broken application. It's a web server with 20 vulnerable web application. And I'm going to cover all the WASP top 10 vulnerability. So first, I'm going to show you how to find this vulnerability locally on our lab and how to check this vulnerability on the internet, okay, with bug bounty tips and tricks. And also I will share 2 interesting books and a lot of useful information today regarding bug bounty and web application pen testing. Really I'm interested in bug bounty. As I said, it could be a side job. Okay, so yeah. In order to increase your salary, also it can give you credibility in the cybersecurity field because you really, gain vulnerability or found vulnerability in, well-known targets. And now you can list all these findings in your CV, which is very, very interesting.
I have a question there, with regards to bug bounty. So, I mean, when we really learn this, I mean, do we need to, learn some basics of JavaScript, to actually find bugs in the web applications?
Yes, if you have a knowledge, regarding PHP, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and so on, they're gonna give you an add-on. Okay. If you don't know any programming language related to web application, you still can survive. Okay. But don't worry. And you can start without any knowledge in web application, but later you can increase this side of knowledge in terms to become more advanced in bug bounty hunting and so on. But yeah, trust me, I've started without any knowledge in PHP, okay, without any knowledge in JavaScript and so on. I was Java developer before. Java, pure Java, which is, very, very, very hard. And, it drives me crazy actually when I'm typing Java, but actually I love Java. Okay. It's very, very nice language. And, from 9 years ago, Java was very, very interesting language because you can, type once, run everywhere. That's the concept. But nowadays, Python, C#, even I believe C++ now can be, written application, and this application can, execute on all the machines. So, yeah, don't worry. I'm going to show you my methodology, how to find the vulnerability.
Yeah, because I don't know anything about programming, as such, about anything about Java. I just, if I see the codes, I don't know what it actually means. So I'm just confused. Can I actually find bugs without, because it's all based on the codes, right? And that's what you're finding, the bugs in the code without knowing programming.
Okay, so let me give you a hint here, or information. Maybe I'm gonna tell you something here. Maybe it's not accurate, but I believe it will help and prove these purposes for now. So if you want to go and capture a fish, for example, do you need to understand all the fish colors and types, speed, and so on?
No,
Actually, no, right? But you need to learn how to find these fish first. So you need to first check, a sea, for example, or a river. You need to have the right equipment, and you need to throw the fish, the fish rod, and start to, wait and develop your skill by time. I don't know if gonna give you a full picture here about what I'm trying to say, but if you understand how the XSS vulnerability actually work and how to find the XSS, yeah, there is no need to learn JavaScript from scratch. If you learn, for example, the local file inclusion or remote file inclusion, so you don't need to have a good understanding about the server side and client side communication and so on. But by understanding the vulnerability and the exploitation techniques, they're going to give you, the first step in order to find the vulnerability. And later, you can increase your knowledge by reading more article, reading more report, and so on. And I will show you that today, okay?
Okay.
So don't worry. We have a server here, which is, have an IP address 10.0.2.5. And I'm going to use my Firefox here. Let's go to 10.0.2.5. And I'm interested in PWApp. So PWApp is very, very amazing web application. It's vulnerable. And it's designed to give you information about the WASP top 10 vulnerability. And the credential will be B, but you can also find any of these web app credential by clicking on this plus icon. And now you can know the technology. It's running on PHP with 1.9 plus get. Here is a credential. You can also open this one to find more information with the credential and so on. And interesting in PWApp. But let me share this web server first. WASP web broken app. And you can download it from the SourceForge and import it inside your VirtualBox. Okay, so yes, here I'm inside in PWApp. Let me open my account. And as I mentioned, it's a buggy web application and it's a free and open source, so anyone can use it. And from this button here, we can check any kind of vulnerability and practice. So injection, it will be the first category. And from its name, it's injection. So you inject or insert something to the web application here. Okay, maybe you can insert an HTML code, an LDAP command, or SMTP command, for example, operating system command, PHP, SQL injection, XML. So this is a kind of programming language that we can insert to gain, unauthorized access, for example, or, dump sensitive information. And this vulnerability, the attacker actually can use it because the developer, don't implement any input sanitization or input filter. So he accepts any input from the user. And this input will become the part of the request you send to the server. So instead of sending your name, you can sending a payload, sending an HTML code, sending an operating system code, for example. Okay? So the injection category is very, very interesting. And I love to start with HTML injection. And I'm going to click on hack. So it's very, very basic. I'm assume that you don't know any HTML tag. Okay.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So yeah. Also me, I don't know any HTML tag. So let's see how actually to find this vulnerability here. So I saw a form here and he's telling me, hey, could you add your first name and add your last name? So I'm going to add my first name, Hisham, and add my second name, Mahmoud, and I'm hit go. And I see something interesting here. So first, what I've inserted here become part of this page. Is that right?
Correct, yeah.
And we was able to submit this data through the URL because we're using a get method here. Here's my name, my first name, and here is my last name. Okay, let me use Control U to see the source code. And I'm going to search for my name, Hisham. See? What I've inserted here become a part of this page. So me, if I have an attacker mindset, for example, I've already inserted my name and my name got echoed back and become a part of the HTML code here. But it's a normal string. So what happens? Copy maybe this form. So I'm going to insert this form again to the HTML code. Okay, so instead of adding my first name, I'm going to add the form that already copied from the source code here. Okay, and I'm gonna add my last name and hit go and see. We have inserted another HTML tag. So the mindset or the methodology is very, very important. You know, once you entered your first name and your last name, it already echoed back or printed in the web page. So instead of typing your first name or your last name, you can add anything. So in order to find this vulnerability, you need to try. So instead of adding your first name, yeah, or adding for your password, for example, or adding your credit card, or adding, you know, profile name or anything, or comment, you can add what? You can try to add HTML code. If you're able to deface or change the website, how it looks like, it's a vulnerability. So imagine that anyone now can modify this page, can actually insert anything. He can, you know, add a fake news, for example, add another form to accept a credential, or maybe to steal your information. Is that correct? Totally correct.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we don't need to have a mastermind in terms of, you know, programming language, but we thinking and acting like hackers. Okay, and hackers, the guy who tried to modify everything in order to serve his need. It's not a malicious intent, actually. So hacker, the term, it's not a malicious term, but it's a guy who loves to, you know, explore a new opportunity and make everything act like he wants. Okay? So why it's called reflected? Because it's reflected back in the source code. And why it's called reflected get? Because what we added becomes a part of URL. So in order to exploit this vulnerability, I already exploited, okay, but you want to send this web page with a new format, right? Maybe you want to trick me to add my data, right? So in order to hack or trick me, you need to send me a full URL. So you have a question now, why to send the full URL? Because my payload become a part of this URL because it's using a get method. So if we have, you know, a stored, let me go to store, HTML stored, it's a part of the page. So our code now become part of the page and stored on the web server. Sorry, it already, you know, become the part of you know, the web page and stored on the web server or maybe in the database. So everyone opening this page, HTMLI underscore stored.php, he will find that what the victim inserted before. So that's the difference between the get and the stored. So in order to exploit get, you need to send the full URL. Okay, you need to send the full URL. But if you want to exploit a stored, yeah, it's easy. Just exploit the vulnerability and anyone will visit this page who will see what you inserted. So you need to craft your payload or your attack very, very carefully here. So the get or the HTML injection reflected get, anyone can easily spot it because the data will be travel in the URL. But the stored, he needs to inspect the source code and check if there is something malicious part of this URL. Okay, so again, when you open the page, there is a request from this page will be sent to the server, and the server will pick all the data from its database and send it back to the user. And this data will be also contain our payload, the first and the last name. Clear now?
Okay, so the option to enter the data becomes a payload for the attacker, right? So he enters a script and that entry.
Yes, it's like a data entry. So you need to find an input, you know, an input form, box, or maybe a get method that, you know, reflects the data into the page. That's the first step. So the first step, find injection point. So here I'm talking about A1 injection. Okay?
Yeah.
So how to exploit this vulnerability? First, we need to find injection point, like forms, for example, or any input field. Any input field. Second, you need to insert your payload and check if it reflected or not. So again, if we go to HTML injection get, so here is the injection point or the input field, right? So I'm going to add Hisham, it's the second name, and yes, it's already reflected, becomes a part of the page. That's very, very interesting. So I need to check the second, the third part will be check how the payload got inserted or how it looks like in the HTML page. And we can press Ctrl U, looking for your string here, and see it's between, tags. It's between, yes, tags. So if Hisham become, already inserted here, let me copy this one, for example. If Hisham become, maybe, let me show you something, become part of this HTML tag, which is called aref, which very, very interesting HTML element for displaying URL. Okay, so if my word here or my string become a part of any element, first we need to move out from the element and insert our HTML code. So I can add it by typing Hisham. So by typing this first, and now we get rid of this part. And now we can type whatever we want here.
Sorry, last year there was some cutting in the audio, I think.
Okay, so I will explain this part in the exercise because this will be very, very important in the exercise. But for now, if you find your payload inserted inside an HTML element, you need to move your payload out of the element first in order to execute it. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So HTML injection, get inside the get method, post inside the post method. Okay, so the same, or the HTML injection will be the same exploitation. Stored, it will be stored in the database or the server side. I will leave LDAP and SMT because it's rare to find, so I'm going to go to OS command injection. And here you need to understand your application. And from the category, we know it's injection, so we can insert something, right? We are going to insert something. So we have a web application telling us, could you please add a domain in order to resolve this domain and bring back its IP address? So I'm going to click on lookup, and using a DNS, Google DNS, and it came with the IP address. So what actually happened here? Actually, what you are inserted here become a part of a query, they're going to travel to the server. So I'm going to open my terminal and show you what happened in the background. So you inserted, for example, google.com. Your string become a part of a query. So the server will handle this request using NS lookup. Okay, and hit enter, and now we have the same information. I'm going to copy the same website to find out the same result, and yes, exactly, we have the same result. So what we insert here executed on the terminal. using NS lookup. So now we need to understand something from, or remember something from the first lecture, the Linux lecture, if you remember. Do you remember, Mr. Nosif, how to execute two commands on the same line?
Okay, that's
yes.
do and.
You can add to and. Yes, yeah. You can add. Actually, you can use to and. You can use semicolon. You can use pipe. You can use or, right? So we have a plenty of command. So I'm gonna trick this web application. So I'm gonna say, hey, could you please do DNS lookup on this domain and execute another command, the ls command here. So if there is no input validation, here, the ls command will be executed on the server and all the data or the response will be sent back to the user here. Okay? So we can see. So I'm gonna hit lookup. So we have the first request output, and we have here the second output, all the file on this machine. Yes, it's similar to typing ns lookup, this domain, and ls, and yeah, here is the first output for the first command, and here is the second output from the ls command. So the developer,
sorry.
Yes.
NS lookup is giving the
DNS lookup,
yeah. The address information.
Yes. You can type semicolon ls, and now you can list only. And actually, we can bypass. We can bypass this restriction or all this odd output by adding semicolon ls. So we get only the data. We can also read cat etc pass wd file. See?
I mean, this looks like it's there's absolutely no security. I mean, this is probably for training purposes, right? But in a real world, I mean, it doesn't come like this, right? It's like we give any command, it executes.
It does. Let me show you the HTML injection in HackerOne, okay, using, or seeing a report. So I'm going to type HTML injection site hackerone.com. And yeah, this guy is using an HTML injection with an access possible, so we can read pause report here. So this guy, he did the registration on this app, and he inject the name field with any HTML payload, open the victim test email, HTML will be executed. So we can actually see the video. So yeah, we have an input field, and he did try to add this payload, and this payload actually, it tried to display an image, okay, but if you click on this image, it will redirect you to his website, evil.com, and we use this payload for demonstration purposes. Okay, so you can add any payload you want. It's not mandatory to use this kind of payloads. And you can also find all this payload listed in GitHub repository. And I'm going to show you. So let's update it. Okay, so this is an update form. So he tried to update his information, updating his name, okay, and sending this update to his email. And by viewing his Gmail account, see, here's the image. He did insert the image, and he inserted a button called the click. So once the victim receives this email and they click on the click button here, he will be redirected to evil.com. See? It's very, very simple vulnerability. You just find an input field, try to check if the data will be echoed back. See? If it's echoed back, try to exploit it. That's how to exploit any injection vulnerability. Is that clear?
Okay, all right. It depends also on the, like, if the reply, if it is echoed back, right? If the code is given and if it is echoed back by the website, that's how we know that there is a vulnerability. Yeah.
Exactly. Maybe you don't receive something here. Okay, maybe you're updating a name here. Maybe once you're updating a name, the name will not be displayed in the page. Maybe, but if you received an email like this guy, you have an exploitation, right? So you did exploit this vulnerability here. Let me show you the remote code execution. Let's RCE. Here is in desktop application, Apache struts. So yeah, there is a lot of RCE which you can, find the people already developed the code for RCE in application, because sometimes it's hard to find. So you can open exploit DP. Okay. You remember exploit database, right?
It's for IoT devices, or yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It contains a lot of exploitation regarding IoT, regarding application, anything. Okay. You can click on filter and choose a platform, or maybe try to add type and web apps. So here I'm filter with all web apps vulnerability. So here is a new vulnerability in multi-trail unauthenticated remote code execution. So if your target, or if you're doing a bug bounty and your target using multi-trail version 0.53, there is remote code execution and it doesn't need any authentication. By clicking on this, okay, you find the exploitation code. So all you need to do is just use this exploitation code, and if you able to exploit it, you can send a report to this company on HackerOne, for example, or if they have a responsible disclosure program. Okay.
Okay.
So you need to have configure your IP address using netcat and so on, and specify the listening port, and curl will do a reverse connection and so on, which is interesting. So this website is very, very interesting. You need to check it daily. Maybe you find something new. Here is a vulnerability in PyroCMS, content management system, and it's SSTI, one of the vulnerabilities that I hate. It's server-side template injection. It's hard vulnerability actually to exploit, but it's related to template. So you see Twitter, right? And once you type any tweet, it take the same Twitter shape, right? And that's happened because the template engine here that Twitter actually used. And maybe you can find the vulnerability in this template. And once you found it, it's called SSTI, server-side template injection. It's one of the hardest vulnerability you can actually find. And I will try to explain it later, okay? So don't worry. But for now, we don't need to understand SSTI. Okay, we're focusing on injection, okay? So if you find a customer using a WordPress plugin like Forminator, it's already have an RCE. If there is a customer using Web Edition CMS, they already have an RCE. If the customer using Web Tiller version 3.2, and it's a new vulnerability. It's a new exploitation code. So I recommend to go and check any customer using this version of Web Atler and start to hack them. Okay, so that's how easy to find remote code execution. Okay.
Okay. So can I ask you a question there? I mean,
yeah, sure.
So this when it says on subject line, Web Atler version 3.2. Is this the software? I mean, is this the
the service or the software, yeah, or the technology they use?
The technologies which is used by the website, yeah, by the web.
Yes, exactly. So if you go to Tesla, let me show you something, how actually to get benefit from Wapalizer and exploit database. So you can click on Wapalizer and see Tesla, they're using Drupal 9. They're using Drupal 9.
Okay. Yeah.
It's very, very popular control management system and using multiple technology, but I can go to exploit DP and click on search. I'm going to search for Drupal. See?
Okay.
So if Tesla using, an old version, for example, like 8.6.9, there is a REST module remote code execution. If they're using 8.6.10 and less than 8.5.11, they also have a remote code execution. See?
Yeah. So, but we don't have the version number, right, of the technology. So
Yeah, from Mobilizer. Drupal 9.
okay, that's 9. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Drupal 9. So they are not vulnerable to this kind of vulnerability. But maybe you need to check another source. So I always go with Twitter. Let me show you something interesting here. So I'm going to type site, colon, Twitter. Actually, I lost my Twitter account. It got deactivated because I didn't use it for, 30 days. So they full deactivated my account. But yeah, I still can, find my loved hashtags. So I can type site twitter.com and I can type, for example, Drupal 9 exploit. See, or we can actually type Twitter hashtag bug bounty. So Drupal released a security update to address a vulnerability affecting the Apache Edge module for Drupal 9.x. An attacker could exploit this vulnerability by bypassing access authorization, blah, 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 blah. So you can go and read more about this vulnerability from the link they provided. I love actually the Twitter community for, the bug bounty hunters.
Okay.
They are active. So where is version 9? It's still 8.x. There is no 9. No, for Drupal 9.x upgrade. If you use Apache for Drupal, upgrade to Apache 8.6. I don't know how they actually listing their version. But I believe Apache came with the, it's a module for Drupal. So this module, it's already vulnerable in this version. So you need to go to stable one, 8.x. So you can check multiple hashtags like bug bounty and so on. But as I mentioned, you can check Twitter, you can check also Vulners. It's a great website, actually great, but it's very, very expensive for me. So I've used to, subscribe once before. I won't show you the price. Yes, the pricing. And yeah, $475 per month.
That's very expensive.
Yes, but actually it's very, very interesting. You can search for Drupal, hit enter. Let me go only with Drupal. And you can find a lot of interesting information from Drupal itself, from Hacker News. And here's the most or the latest one. So you can click on this one. So Microsoft released patch for 74 new vulnerabilities in August update. And it's already mentioned here because maybe there is a vulnerability for Drupal for Windows. I don't know. But there is a cross-site scripting in Contrap So you can go and read this kind of vulnerability. Maybe you can find an exploitation code. You can find a lot of useful stuff here. Also show them. You can search or check the vul tag, but actually you need to have a small business account, because with a small business account you have a vulnerability search filter. So imagine that you can use the vulnerability search filter to filter for its specific vulnerability in all bug bounty programs. So there is a new F5 vulnerability and you want to check all people vulnerable to F5. So now you have the filter from Shodan, and Shodan will list all the IP address vulnerable to F5 vulnerability. So you can find a lot of vulnerability very, very quick and very fast. But it costs $359 per month. Okay.
Yeah.
The second way also to check vulnerability fast, there is a tool called Nuclei. So I recommend to go and read more about Nuclei. It's very, very interesting tool. So for example, you can list some application or some URL and you can build the module, for example. So here he tried to find a secret or leaks from Amazon SS3 packets. And he tried to find this vulnerability in all the domains that he already provides the tool with. And the tool will do the magic. It will find this vulnerability very, very fast using this template. And you can also download template from, the internet. So let me show you how it looks like. So Nuclei, for example, XSS templates. Okay. So here is a template. You can easily download it. And it's a vulnerability in a WordPress plugin called Social Fit. Okay, so all you need to do is just find all domains using this plugin and give it to Nikolai. And Nikolai will do mass scan and give you the vulnerable domain with the XSS here. See, bug bounty, it's very easy, but people do not share these secrets with others. So you don't need to become a programmers, right? We have a template and we have multiple templates. So if you move down here, we have multiple templates that we can go and use. Okay? It's not hard task, trust me. I will share a lot of useful information, but it's related to methodology, not how hard you try.
Okay.
So Shodan, if you have this subscription, it will be great, but I know it's expensive. So once you're comfortable with bug bounty, you can subscribe for 1 month and try your luck. Vulners also great, but I don't recommend to go with Vulners first. I love to go with Shodan and Nikolai. And also exploit database. It's very, very interesting. You need to filter for web apps using the type here and search for any kind of technology. But first, you need to find out what or which technology running on your target server. Okay? Okay, so returning back here to our machine. So operating system or server command injection or remote code execution, it's very, very simple vulnerability. All you need to do is just find an input field, and the data that you're going to provide to this input field or this form will run on the server. So if you find out this code will be run on the server, that's great. Now we need to exploit this vulnerability. So you need to go and try your luck, or simply you can go to one of interesting RC scanner. It's called Comics. It's called Comics. It's automated operating system command injection exploitation tool. So this tool is very, very interesting. I've used this tool before a couple of times, And I did found vulnerability before in penetration testing activity, not in bug bounty programs, to be honest. Okay. But in penetration testing, yes, this tool will be very, very interesting. But for, bug bounty, yeah, gonna be a little bit hard because it rely on, maybe an outdated payloads and so on. But it's still worth to try. Okay. PHP code injection. So it's very, very simple. I have here, maybe a code. If you click on this code, there is a PHP code trigger message, and this message test here. So maybe I can use this PHP code to run PHP function. But again, I'm not a PHP developer. How I can type a PHP function here? It's very simple. We have a pre-built PHP function like PHP info. It's a PHP function that allow you to list information from the server here. So again, all you need to do is just find a PHP code, okay, with a parameter and try to use these parameters to find, more interesting information. So I'm going to hit enter, and I was able to find these data from the server. So from Google Chrome, let me show you how to find this vulnerability in public. It's not hard. Just type in URL column PHP info function. I'm trying to show you because it's a generic. Let me get the specific dork using the GHDB, Google Hacking Database. I'm going to type PHP info. So we have dorks that we can go and use. And yep, we have multiple website vulnerable with PHP info. So if this website have a bug bounty programs, you can go and easily report this vulnerability. If they don't have bug bounty program, you have a great website called Open Bug Bounty. And from its name, it's Open Bug Bounty program. So you can create account using a Twitter. And once you create account, just click on Start Bug Bounty, report a vulnerability, but you need to have, let me go and log in, actually. Let me show you a registration process. I'm going to type my nickname. Okay, there is an OTP password. Let me get it. Okay, yeah, it's actually hard to write, but let me go. Star $% S T capital hash T and Z capital. Let me log in, and you can click on report vulnerability, just agree, and they telling you here not to exploit, a severe vulnerability, so like a remote code execution. So they don't accept any RC. So if it's injection vulnerability, you can easily report the victim via Open Bug Bounty program. So you need to add your Facebook profile, you need to add your LinkedIn. It's gonna give you more credibility. Okay. And you can also list your Hall of Fame. Let me report a vulnerability. I agree. And it's not XSS, so they accept XSS, they accept CSRF, improper access control, or any information leakage or open redirect. So sometimes if you don't find, the vulnerabilities that you want to report, just pick any vulnerability, for example, like an XSS, and you can add your post data, the vulnerable URL, the cookies that you already used to exploit this vulnerability, the application, maybe it's a custom code or maybe a framework, and add your comment. Once you confirm, okay, just you can also add the customer email address if you already know the customer email address, and you can easily obtain the customer email address using hunter.io. Okay, so you can list companies domain, let me customer email using hunter.io. So email finder. So find email by company. So I'm going to type tesla.com, for example. And if you choose Tesla, we have multiple emails. So you need to register first in order to find the company email address. We are interested in this company, so I'm going to copy their domain in order to check if there is an email, for example. Maybe this company, we only have one email, so I'm going to copy this email and also put it here and submit this vulnerability. So Open Bug Bounty now will start the communication on behalf of you. Okay. And once they got notified and fix the vulnerability, maybe they can give you, money, or maybe you can get a reputation, for example. And this reputation would be great to add it inside your CV. Is that interesting? Does that sound good?
Yeah, absolutely.
So now you can find any vulnerability in any public website. Like, yes, we did find this PHP leakage here. So those people are already vulnerable. Okay. So HTML injection, how to find HTML injection? You need to search for the parameters first, like, search or query or any, parameters that can reflect your data. Or XSS. I will show you my secret in XSS, so don't worry. But for now, you can use Open Bug Bounty beside HackerOne. And most of people don't know about Open Bug Bounty, or let me show you something interesting. Responsible disclosure program. I will share with you a secret today. A lot of people actually don't want to share. So responsible disclosure program means the company have their own bug bounty programs. Okay. By typing responsible disclosure program, you can list all the companies they having a bug bounty program, and you can maybe this program is not listed in HackerOne or Bugcrowd, for example. So you can easily now check Ferrari and see they have a responsible disclosure program. So they said if you find a vulnerability like an XSS, CSRF, SQL injection, user input, broken authentication, just reach us through this email, responsible_disclosure at Ferrari, and we can list you in the Hall of Fame. So you will receive an acknowledgement from Ferrari. Is that good? Perfect.
Yes,
so
perfect.
You find any program, but what the people actually don't telling you, you can copy this one and you can add in URL with money, you can add with reward, with bounty, with t-shirt, for example. But I'm going to open Google Translate. I know it sounds weird, but I'm going to translate responsible disclosure to Spanish. Why? Because now I'm searching for responsible disclosure in Spain. So why I'm doing that? Do you have any idea? Yes, I'm searching for another target in another country. Yeah. Most of bug bounty hunters focus on the English website only. Because it's easy to understand, but we have Google Translate plugin which allow us to make it English or translate it into English. So now we know this website offer a bug bounty programs or offer a bug bounty or a reward, for example, and no one know about this one. I always go to Dutch website, Netherlands. Let's go with Dutch. And you can find, private program for, Dutch, for Netherlands. See? So if you did find any vulnerability, just send it to responsible disclosure at uu.nl. And actually you have 55,200 websites to find the vulnerability in. So instead of going to HackerOne, Bugcrowd, or this crowded website full of bug bounty hunters, you can find your way and find the vulnerability in a different web pages or a different site to make all the internet safer. Interesting, right?
Yes, yeah.
You can also take responsible disclosure word and at site.com, site column star dot, for example, UK. So I'm searching here for all the UK, United Kingdom, the CCTLD offering a bug bounty program. So I have 4,920,000 program. I did find 10 vulnerabilities.
Hello? Hello?
As far as disconnected.
Hi, everyone.
Hello?
Yes, so the electricity again. I did find 10 vulnerability in HostNager. Okay,
Yeah.
it's very, very popular hosting website. So imagine that now you can increase your scope to find more websites offering a bug bounty program. So trust me, by using this technique, the search engine with the Google Translate with responsible disclosure keyword, you can find tons of programs on the internet. So don't waste your time with HackerOne, Bugcrowd, Integrity, Yes We Hack, and so on, but you can find your way and find a lot of targets. And if you want to find a target offering money, just type reward or monetary. Okay, just search Google. Yeah, we are not robot. So this program here, they have a bug bounty and they offering money. So it's a PDF. So I don't know why it came with PDF format. But let me copy this one. Let me copy this one. And let's filter using site star.uk. And yep, so for example, service.gov.uk, they have responsible disclosure with monitoring. So let me change monitoring with rewards. Okay. So now we can filter for reward. Okay. And do not qualify for bug bounty reward program. So this vulnerability, you're not gonna receive a vulnerability if you did find one of them. So you will be eligible to receive a monetary, yes, monetary reward or a bounty payment. And yeah, the valid big submission is $100 and the maximum bounty for validated bug submission is $60,000 USD. And yeah, you can go and keep filters to find your dream project, for example. Change reward, make it monetary, find another programs. And that's my way actually to, you know.
Yeah, that's it.
To find the, you know, target. Yeah, trust me, I did make money using this technique. Okay. Most of people here, they don't have a penetration testing team. They don't have a bug bounty programs on HackerOne. A lot of people compete in order to find, you know, a weak point. I will share with you another secret, and we will move to break. There is a great website. Let me check, remember its name. Bug bounty platform list. I will show you how to find, you know, a private programs from Google. So instead of, you know, moving to HackerOne and, you know, get invitation from a private bug bounty, I will show you how to find a private bug bounty program. I want to remember, yes, Zerocopter. Okay. So let me, yes, Zerocopter. Okay, they have the email address. No, they don't have the Zerocopter. So you can type Zerocopter with on responsible disclosure program. Actually, in order to find the vulnerability using Zerocopter, it's a Netherlands or Sweden program. Really, I love it. It's similar to HackerOne, but for, you know, Europe. And I did make a lot of money from Zerocopter, actually. So I want to show you something. So yeah, this guy here, Sketch, is using Zerocopter. Okay, so he's using this URL here, app.zerocopter.com, with the language and the CVD. So all you need to do is moving to Google and adding this one and hit enter. We only have this string here. So in text. Yeah, we'll find one data switcher. So let's. So Nova Media, we have SimilarWeb, we have Melonic, we have DVD. So we actually got 835 private programs from Zerocopter. Because actually you can't register in this website. It's already, you're not gonna allow to register in this website. It's only open its registration. Okay, in certain date. Actually, I have my account. I did create an account before, and I use it to, you know, sending a vulnerability. But actually, you can use it to send a mail via Gmail. Okay, I will try to bring a HackerOne or one of my, you know, last bugs that I send via Gmail. But for now, you can use a Zerocopter, as I mentioned. Okay, just type in Google Zerocopter Responsible Disclosure Program, or use this way to find, you know, a Zerocopter private program. So Nova Media, as I mentioned, it's already listed in Zerocopter, and no one know because they don't search the internet properly. Okay? And they pay with euro. Okay, so that's my secret, how to find a target on the internet. So we can now take our first break. So if you have any question, you are most welcome.
Yeah, I mean, it was really good, but I think it takes time, right? I mean, to do the bug bounty. Just understanding the concepts and yeah. So how was it for you? I mean, when you first started, doing the bug bounty?
Yeah, I was able to find a real vulnerability after 1 month. I believe, yes, after 1 month. And I was completely noob. Okay, I don't know any information regarding web application programming. There is no one actually helped me to understand the vulnerability. I've just tried to read and understand vulnerability from a WASP guide, which is very, very hard to me. Also, I don't have any programming experience. And I did watch videos online. Let me show you something from YouTube. You can type bug bounty report, for example, or bug bounty POC. Okay. And there is a lot of videos here. People try to exploit a vulnerability or send it to, a customer, for example. So, you need to keep watching these vulnerability. It's actual vulnerability in a real target. So here is AT&T account takeover. So this guy was able to steal anyone account from AT&T. So all you need to do is just go and watch this 1 minute video. And now you have, the knowledge and you have his methodology to find this vulnerability. So you need to try this methodology in all the websites you already know. Here's
Wow.
OTP, OTP verification bypass. Authentication bypass vulnerability bug bounty POC on HackerOne. So I learned through the hard way. As I mentioned, I was not lucky enough. So, but I'm trying to share with you all the information that I have.
Yeah.
So trust me, you're welcome. Try to type bug bounty POC on YouTube or on Google. Once you understand the concept, try to find this vulnerability in any website. And trust me, starting by responsible disclosure program will be better because there is no big competition. Okay. Maybe the target don't have a good security controls or security mindset. And my first vulnerability I found, I believe it's in Adobe. Yes, in Adobe, then in Yahoo, Zendesk, MotoGP. Then I moved completely to find the vulnerability in responsible disclosure programs publicly. Okay. And I'm trying to expand my knowledge, and also I'm trying to expand my CV by finding more vulnerability. And trust me, it's easy to find vulnerability using zero responsible disclosure programs.
Yes, yeah. Thanks for sharing the information. That was really, knowledgeable.
You're welcome. So we can move now to our first break. Here's my
And I
timer.
have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Before break. What is the main difference
sure.
between responsible trade program to take the bug bounty subscription on Zerocopter or HackerOne from other bug bounty you needed for? Is it the technique or the reward? Or you're looking for something like technology? You need to try other technologies to check it.
Okay, so HackerOne, it's very, very popular website. It gather all the companies and start to list these companies for the people interested in bug bounty. Okay, so if you find the vulnerability in HackerOne or any website listed on HackerOne, you can now send a report to this company via HackerOne. Okay, but imagine that HackerOne. Let me check the number. How many bug bounty hunter using HackerOne? So HackerOne actually have more than 1 million bug bounty hunters. So the competition on this website will be hard. Why? Because there is a lot of bug bounty hunters Okay, less programs. So why you want to compete with all of these? We are smart enough, so we need to pick another way. So another way here that the people or the bug bounty hunters don't telling you, you can find a responsible disclosure program online. So if I have a website and I don't want to cooperate with HackerOne because HackerOne take percentage from the money, so I need to give HackerOne money to list my program, okay? So I want to list my bug bounty programs. Why I need to go to HackerOne? So I can create my own bug bounty program and list it online using a responsible disclosure web page. So all I need to do is just create a web page called responsible disclosure and list my policy and what I'm accepting from your side and what you accept from my side. And I love to go this way because a lot of people really don't know about this one. You already know about HackerOne, right? Did you know about responsible disclosure?
No.
So
I just knew to know it from some courses or some videos.
yes,
But how
exactly.
it should to be in real as to be subscribed in this program, to be in this responsible.
Yes.
I don't
Did anyone told you that you can use this word with another language? Did anyone told you how to extract an email, for
know.
example, using a private program? Why people actually don't share this data? Because you are going to compete with me. You're going to find what I'm going to find. And I hate that. People really, they don't love to share information because they think you will come and, take their money, for example. Okay.
Mhm.
So by sharing this information, I believe it will be good for you and good for me. I already I have a recap now. I already remember these techniques and you already gain something, right? So I encourage you, instead of going to HackerOne, Bugcrowd, and compete with tons of, hackers and so on, you can go to Responsible Disclosure Program. No one really know about it. Okay? People love to go with easy money because HackerOne can, guarantee that you will receive your money. But trust me, I've used Zerocopter for 3 years. 3 years using a private programs, using responsible disclosure and so on. And really, I have a Euro account, bank account, Euro account, and dollar account. And why I already have a Euro account or a dollar account? Because I already received the bounties from, Zerocopters and many websites here. I found in IKEA, I found, 200 vulnerability in IKEA. 200 vulnerability in IKEA, Netherlands. It's a very, very big number. I'm not considering myself a smart, but no one know IKEA already have a responsible disclosure program. Did you know?
No.
It's his first time.
Yeah, so they have a responsible disclosure program. And I was the only one, okay, 6 years ago, I believe, or 7 years ago, to find the vulnerability in this program. So I'm competing with myself. Totally, I'm competing myself. Trust me, from 7 years ago, after finding vulnerability in IK, I sent 200 report or 200 email, and trust me, I had a hard time follow with all of these emails. Trust me, I've sent 200 mail, 200 bug. So I'm searching. I received a bounty here. I didn't receive a bounty here. They still fixing this one. They need the retest here. It's really hard. So from one program, you can gather a lot of useful data. So that's why I'm trying to explain here. So don't rely on HackerOne. You still can rely on HackerOne. It's a good platform. Trust me. But I'm sharing with you a secret here. It's not a secret, but everyone should know about it. So the responsible disclosure program is very, very interesting. You can find vulnerability in any program if it has a responsible disclosure program, or you can use a bug bounty or open bug bounty program. So in using open bug bounty, you can send the vulnerability to any website if they don't have a responsible disclosure program. So if InfoSec 40C, for example, they don't have a responsible disclosure program, you can send them an email by gathering email from hunter.io, or you can simply using an open bug bounty, like, a guy between InfoSec and you as a bug bounty hunter. Even if InfoSec 40C don't have a bug bounty programs. But you need to follow their agreement. Okay?
Open bounty, there is no reward if the company make it. There is no guarantee like HackerOne or others.
Trust me, a lot of people really afraid because they're not going to receive something from, these programs. But trust me, you will always find a reward, and you will receive your reward. I gain more money from responsible disclosures, rather than HackerOne.
Yes.
What do you think, those companies who are actually having responsible disclosure programs and they're not registering with HackerOne, because HackerOne is a very big market, and those companies, they could probably get a bigger opportunity, right? So it works both ways, right? I mean, because that gap is there, so we could exploit the opportunity there. But these companies are not actually registering with, HackerOne.
Yes,
which
actually,
they would be benefiting.
yes, actually, I love all your question. You came every time you came with, an interesting question. And this question, actually, it's very, very hard to answer, but I will answer it for you. Okay, so why companies build or create their own responsible disclosure program, not relying on HackerOne? That's an interesting question, right?
Yeah.
And the answer is, imagine that if you have a bug bounty program on HackerOne, how many people actually see this vulnerability or this report? The HackerOne team, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happened if the HackerOne already got hacked and your report got leaked? That's bad, right? So people, they came with a different way. So instead of hosting my data on HackerOne, for example, and what if HackerOne got compromised, for example, or my data would be leaked also. So I will build my responsible or create my responsible disclosure, and I handle this sensitive information. All this data is belonging to me. So I don't want to share it with anyone. I know maybe there is a limitation. Maybe I don't have enough team to solve all this vulnerability. So the HackerOne team can help me, but at least I protect my sensitive information. So all the report now already shared with the HackerOne team and the researcher, if it's, if there is a lot of people already got this vulnerability. So if someone got hacked, his email got hacked, this data will be leaked. If HackerOne email got hacked, all this data will be leaked. Is that answer your question?
Yeah, that very much, yeah. It's probably part of reputation, right? I mean, you put something over there and you become a target for all those people using the HackerOne.
Yes. Trust me, I saw a lot of hackers try to hack into HackerOne to steal, other company report in order to hack it before they solve this vulnerability. So why hosting your data on HackerOne? And also you can, protect yourself and host your data on your servers.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of people really create a lot of, responsible disclosure program online, and instead of moving to HackerOne or Background and so on. But the people who love to move to Background or HackerOne because they don't have maybe enough team, or they have a bigger infrastructure and they don't have enough team, or maybe they need a lot of people to find the vulnerability in their infrastructure very, very fast. So we did cover some injection vulnerability. We covered, let me move back here, inserting my credential, debug. And from injection category, we did cover the HTML injection get, post, the stored, and we know what is the difference between the get, the post, and the reflected. Okay, the get method, which can be reflected, the post is a post or using post method, and stored, which will be stored in the server side. Operating system or command injection. Here we try to send a malicious code. Okay. And this malicious code will run on the server here, the vulnerable server. The PHP code, we need to find a PHP code with a parameter and using any PHP function, or you can simply type the site you want with the PHP info function. And if you are lucky, you will find this file already listed. Okay. SQL injection, I will leave it for the next session. So broken authentication. So there is a problem with the authentication method. And the authentication mean you provide the system your credential or your username and your password. Okay. And actually, you can do a lot of stuff here. So the first and easy vulnerability you can actually find is the session ID in the URL. So if you saw a program on any platform, for example, using the PHP or any other language, okay, this is actually the language they used to build the cookie. Okay, so this is a cookie built by PHP code. So this is very, very interesting. Anyone now can see our cookies and he can actually use these cookies in order to log in into this web application. So this is a bad habit. The cookie travel in the URL. So anyone now can see and access your cookie. So if you saw the cookie travel in a URL, that's not a good way to handle this. Logout management. It's another way to, another good vulnerability. So imagine that we have a web application and we have a logout function. So logout will actually end or close your session with this website. So if you click here to log out, so we need now to provide again our credential to a system. Okay. But the most interesting part, if you click on this back button, you find yourself already have a session, right? That's very, very interesting. And actually here, your session does not expire after you logged out. So imagine that if anyone captured your session, he can use it over and over and over if you closed your account, for example, because the session here, it's not terminated. So the developer must expire the session once the user log out from his account. Okay.
Yeah, this is something quite common. Yeah, it's happening with various users.
Yes,
that,
exactly.
Sessions or domains, yeah.
Exactly. So it's a very, very easy vulnerability to find actually. And a lot of people, you know, really don't know about. So try to log out from account and click on back button. If you find yourself still have a valid session, that's a very, very bad situation for the developer. Okay, he must now defend himself. And this also could be exploited using a session hijacking. So session hijacking here, we can steal the victim session. And that can be easily done by intercepting the HTTP request and copy the cookie parameter. And now you can refresh the page and insert the cookies that you already captured before. If you find yourself able to log in with the same account without, you know, this session got expired, that's very bad for the developer also. So logout management or session hijacking is very, very interesting vulnerability, and you can easily find them. Let me show you on HackerOne. hacker.com. So let's check anyone and report. And here is a video. We can download it, and we hope that the guy already not implemented or inserted something malicious in his video here. That's also another vulnerability. Okay, if this guy already uploaded a video and we're still able to extract metadata from this video, that's a vulnerability. That's a vulnerability. So anyone know about metadata?
Metadata is, in the context of like it's the data which gives information about.
Yes, the data.
Data, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So metadata, each picture or video, for example, have something called metadata. And metadata, it's like, the image extension, the image size, what is the program used to build or create this image, if it's Adobe Photoshop, if it's Adobe Illustrator, the coordinate or GPS location, it will be inserted in the image, okay? So if hacker one, don't strip this information from any uploaded item, that will be a vulnerability, because now we can extract data from this video. Now I can know this guy, what is the technology used on his machine, if he using, for example, a VLC, or if he using any other application. That will give me a lot of useful information in order to attack this security researcher here. And as you know, we covering this course from two perspectives: red team member and penetration testing. Okay, so now we can extract useful information from this video in order to attack this guy here. So the companies must clear or remove the metadata from any uploaded item. Okay, I will show you also this vulnerability in a couple of seconds. It's not nested in bug bounty or OWASP broken app, but I will show you here right now. Let me open this video. I'm going to open with a VLC. So it's session hijacking. So yes, he did one session hijacking in their website. So he tried now to log in with account. Okay, he adding his password. That's pretty nice. Okay, so now he have a login or a valid session, as you see in it's a Xiaomi, I believe, New Relic. I don't know if it's Xiaomi or what, but yeah, let's see. So he gonna export now the cookies. So he gonna copy his cookies, log out from his account, and try to use the cookie again. So it's similar like what we did, but using now the cookies. Okay. So he try now to log in to RPM. Yes, New Relic. He just gonna add his cookies using a cookie manager. Now we're clearing all the cookies. Click on import. And now he importing the cookies that he captured before. Click yes. And if he refresh the page or click on login, he will be able to log in with, his account. So he didn't provide any password, but he only used a session here. See? Is that clear? Nasif Hatim?
Yeah.
Yes.
But about some technology didn't all technology like this application RPM Neuralink it is cache the tokens. in the web browser. Other websites doesn't make the same
Yes, but if you look here, he cleared the cookies using the cookie manager. Let me show you. Here he did click on before he imported the cookie. Okay, before he imported the cookie, he clicked on the delete icon to clear all the cached cookies. So he will click on delete. See? This icon here, it's a delete icon. So he will delete all the cookies first. So this attack, if I'm inside your network, I can use a sniffer, and the sniffer will capture this HTTP or HTTPS traffic. And I will extract the cookies, and I will use it later to open your account without providing any credential. So I can easily steal your account here using the cookies only. So in order to protect or remediate or fix this vulnerability, you must expire the cookies once you log out. You need to tell your web server, please, if the user came again with the same cookie, don't accept it because he already logged out. So it's expired session. Clear now?
Yes.
And as you see, it's very, very easy to exploit, right? So bug bounty, it's very, very easy. It's not hard as people said. And all you need to do is to know how to find the vulnerability, how to find the weak point. You already now know multiple technique, multiple vulnerability. You can go and start to find them. And as you see, it's from HackerOne. So this is a valid report. Valid report, people already, find this vulnerability before, and maybe he got reward or maybe not, but it depends here on the program. And see, multiple user found this vulnerability. And this guy already got the acknowledge because he's the first one who report this vulnerability. So session hijacking or logout management is very, very interesting vulnerability, and you really can easily find it. Administrative portal, let me check administrative portal. If you check on the URL here, sometimes you find the parameter, and some developer, I didn't see this vulnerability in modern web app. Actually, maybe the developer know it's a bad way to implement such a thing. But here we have an admin equals 0, and 0 mean false, right? So maybe we cannot access this page because this page maybe need an administrator privilege. And we don't have this admin privilege because our admin privilege is set to false. So what happens if we change 0 to 1? So 1 means true. So let me hit enter, and voila, we can now access the administrative portal. Okay. Let me show you something. It's similar to this vulnerability, like 403 bypass. Did we cover this one before?
No, this first time.
Okay, so if you receive 403 code, that means this page is forbidden. Yeah, there is a page, but actually you cannot access this page, right? So this guy here was able to bypass this page here. It's a vulnerability in Department of Defense. Okay, so he click on this URL. Okay, this is a vulnerable URL or the vulnerable page, and he can easily bypass it by sending a header. Its content length 0. Its content length 0. So maybe you find this a little bit tough. How I know I need to send a content length with 0? So if you remember, we have Hacktrix, our good friend here. So this guy actually add multiple way to bypass any 403. So let me search if he add content. No, he didn't add content length actually, but now there is a lot of multiple way or multiple payloads that you can use to bypass 403, or simply you can follow this guy instruction here by sending a request to the server or to the URLs that you want to open with a header called content length with 0. Okay, so all you need to do by reading report, you need to build your own methodology. You need to list all this data into a node, for example. Okay, once you encounter any scenario, you need to check. I found myself when I'm trying to exploit something, I go to HackerOne report. Maybe I'm gonna get a new idea, maybe I get a new tool, maybe I get a proof of concept code that I don't have a programming skill to type, and just do some tweaks. Okay, so trust me, reading other people report, it's a treasure. Reading other people report, it's a treasure. And from me, please take this advice. Just read daily from 3 to 5 report if you want to go to bug bounty career. Okay, just daily go and read from 3 to 5 report, and you can find all the report listed online. Bug bounty report list, and yep, we have multiple vulnerability. So we did cover. Let's try to find HTML injection. There is no HTML injection. So PHP, remote or RCE. So here is a top RCE report. So you can check all the RCE report. See? We have 287 report. So if you're interested in RCE, you need to go and read all of these. You will totally have a good understanding regarding the RCE. Okay. So yeah, that's easily how to bypass 403. And sometimes you find a parameter. By changing its parameter, you will find yourself, able to access this page. Or maybe a user agent. Maybe there is a user agent. You can also find a user agent switcher add-on, which allow you to change your user agent. So some web page need to log in from a mobile device, for example, and the website can detect that you're using a mobile by or through your user agent. And by using your user agent switcher here, you can choose any user agent. So for example, I can open this page with user agent related to Android Firefox. Or let me show you something here. Okay, user agent. I believe there is a vulnerability related to user agent here. Yes, restrict device access. So if I'm using my default user agent, see, really I cannot view this page because this page allow me to visit from a mobile device. And I can trick the website here or this web application by changing my user agent. Just click on this add-on that we add and use Android phone, refresh, and voila, we're able to bypass the restriction here based on the device. Yes, some developer actually use a device restriction. So by user agent switcher, you can easily bypass this method. Okay. So again, broken authentication is very, very fun. Okay. You need to find your way in, just try to see how the session actually behave. Is there is a session hijacking or a session fixation? Try to look out from the machine and return back. Try to, access a hidden or a forbidden area, for example, doing some bypassing techniques, as you saw. Also, password attacks, and password attacks here, brute forcing. Some website accept brute forcing and other website does not accept brute forcing. And my recommendation is do not brute force. Do not brute force. Okay? Why? Because you can exhaust the resources. Maybe they implement a application firewall which can block your connection or block your IP address for maybe 1 hour or maybe 2. It depends here. But there is another vulnerability called rate limit. So in rate limit, you check here how the website or how many requests the website can accept your how many requests the website can accept. Okay. So this is a very, very interesting vulnerability, and I will share it in the next module. So for now, I need from all of you to go and try to find this vulnerability in a public website, HTML injection, operating system, code execution, PHP, also the broken authentication, and the other vulnerability we are going to cover in the next module. I don't want to make the session very, very big, covering all or tons of vulnerability. But for now, just rewatch the video. Try to read more vulnerability reports. Okay. Make yourself familiar with finding a program using a responsible disclosure technique and so on. And please, if you have any question, reach me. Okay?
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome, Nasif. So, any question? Atim, Nasif?
No.
With regards to the vulnerability report you were saying to, to check, is it the GitHub one the best?
You're asking which vulnerability is best to start with?
Yeah.
Okay, the most and the best vulnerability you can go and start with GitHub leaks, and you can watch this video. I recommend to watch this video. Okay. This is a very easy vulnerability to look for. SS3 bucket, POC. You can check also SS3 bucket. And yeah, you can check hackersploit. I recommend also this video, but I will leave this search. See, it's 3,000 bounty. And the last vulnerability I want you to find is exploitation. So just try to find what is technology running on the web page first. If using Weblyzer, maybe they will list an SS3 or Amazon. They're gonna give you an advantage to go to the SS3 bucket here. What if they're using a Google? You can search for GCC or Google Cloud GC bucket POC or Google bucket POC. It's another vulnerability in Google, and Azure bucket also. or subdomain takeover. Subdomain takeover, it's not hard, but I don't recommend to start with. But for now, try to find, leakage with GitHub. GitHub leaks POC. There are a lot of, tons of it. And it's a critical vulnerability. And trust me, you can make a lot of money from GitHub by finding data leakage on GitHub. I told you before, I was able to access one of the biggest company FTP server with a lot of useful information. Noon, I was able to access, Noon developer account with his credit card, and actually they didn't pay anything because they said it's, a weak point from the developer, not from the Noon itself, so it's not eligible for bounty, which, yeah. See, they try to, not to pay money for you. So I recommend to go with GitHub leakage, okay? Especially this video from the gentleman. This is a very, very good, and actually it's helped me to start this kind of vulnerability, to find this kind of vulnerability. Okay.
Okay. Could you share that link, please?
Yeah, I already shared it in the team. Yeah, the first video. Okay, try to read more, try to practice, stick with the vulnerability for 1 week, okay? Try to find this vulnerability in all programs you know, okay? In order to become familiar with the process, the finding process. Once you are familiar and, read a lot of, report, move to another vulnerability and so on. That's how I learned.
Okay.
Stick with one vulnerability for each week. And later you will find yourself comfortable with multiple vulnerability, building your methodology, and yeah, that's it.
Okay, so we can watch the videos and then probably practice on the BWAP, and then we can use the BWAP as well, right? And then look for some real, cases.
Exactly. And trust me, it is not hard. Bug bounty, it is not hard, and it depends on the knowledge. Let me show you something. We have SOC Radar or Intel X. Let me show you something. Intel X. Okay. So Intel X, it's a great website. You can find data leaks. So you can type tesla.com. And if tesla.com mentioned in a dark web, you will find the data. But it will be encrypted, right? Because you need to pay money. So for a researcher, you need to pay 2,500 euro per month, per year, sorry. Okay, but you have a limitation. You have a limitation here. So we always recommend to go with Identity Portal, which is very, very useful. Okay. But now, Intel X Tesla already got data leaks, maybe a password, maybe a lot of useful information that you can, send this vulnerability or this finding to tesla.com via HackerOne. Or you can also check SOC Radar, and from SOC Radar, yeah, we also in InfoSec 40C, we have a great tool. It's called Expose. We're offering its dark web monitoring service, and it's similar to SOC Radar. Yeah, sorry, Nasser?
Yeah, sorry. So with Intel X, you were saying, just saying an example like Tesla, which leaked all those information. They have all this information. So Tesla will be we'll be seeing all this information, right? From their website, it's all leaked. So they'll be taking some action from their side, right? Because their information is leaked out. So how does that?
There is a problem. But there is a problem. Maybe they don't have dark web monitoring tool. Maybe they don't know this website already exists. And maybe they don't have enough time to go through all these data and check if it's really valid or not. Or maybe we have 10,000 accounts we need to change its password. You know, the human process always leave something missing behind. Okay, so you can try find useful information from this high stack here. Yeah, the point is, yes, Tesla can also have access to this information, but they're gonna spend a lot of time filtering and doing this exercise. Also, Tesla already got hacked, so there is 104 dark web mentioned. The latest exposure or the latest data leakage from Tesla.com was today. Data infected or data from infected machines, so they 500 machine belonging to Tesla employee got hacked. There is 1,000 items, so already leaked and sold on the black market. 490 credential belonging to Tesla employee, and so on. So now already there is a leak. Maybe you need to now to go with Tor, okay, and start using some dark web monitoring tool, for example, to find this leakage information or visiting, dark web forums and so on. Okay. And you always need to go with OSINT framework. Yes. So using OSINT framework, it's a problem with the server. Actually, that's bad, and I don't want to imagine this scenario, this website, down, for example. So yeah, it's bad story right now, but you still can go with Intellex or Socradar to find tons of useful information. And I want to share with you something before we close the session. There is a great tool called DBEX. So DBEX allow you to recover password from parallelized or from pixelized screenshot. Some websites, they upload an image with this form. If you're able to return or make this string visible, yeah, it's a bug. Okay. Yeah, some people accept it, some people not accept it. But for now, if you see someone using this kind of pixelized technique and hide something, for example, maybe hide, his password, blah, 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 now you can access his password easily. Okay? And yeah, that's a secret. Don't tell anyone. Okay. Yeah. And yeah, you need to follow this installation process in order to install it on side your, Kali or Ubuntu machine. Okay. Yeah, that's it for today. So please, if you have any question.
Yeah, so at the beginning you were saying about 2 books that you'll be.
Yes, I will share with you 2 books and 1 greatest video. Okay, Bug Bounty, OSINT, Jason Hudax. Okay, so I recommend to watch this guy. This guy is a guru in terms of bug bounty. This is a very, very popular bug bounty hunter. Really, I love all his video. He's very, very smart guy. And he also a gamer. And Namsek, yeah, he also very, very famous guy. He's a very, very famous bug bounty hunter. But I know he did a lot for the community. But trust me, Jason Hudex will be, most interesting guy. You can also watch Namsek. He's very interesting. His books from background to start, bug bounty. Yeah, I recommend Web App 101 and the Web Application Hacker Handbook, but let me show you. I have something more interesting. Okay. Yeah, he's Adam. Also, Web Hack or Bug Bounty 101, file type PDF. Okay, if you can search or take this query, I believe you will find a lot of useful book. Okay. See, a lot of people really have a lot of useful slides here. You can also check WAF bypass, file type PDF, and you will have a lot of resources on the internet how to bypass web application firewall, especially from this PDF here, which created by OWASP, Open Web Application Security Project. See? So here is a lot of techniques that help you to bypass web application firewall. So always I recommend to go with some docs to give you more information about what you are looking for. Bug bounty POC. Yeah, this one is not working. Let's see this one. So I believe you can start finding a lot of useful information. The one of interesting doc I recommend to go and check is finding invoice. Okay, a lot of people accept this as a vulnerability, so you can type in url.com or the site you want. Let me go with another doc. So his invoice, maybe it contains some useful information, maybe not, but you already have a name, have a location. So it's kind of data leakage. And now you can pretend that you are the other guy, for example, try to claim this money. That's an actual scenario.